So it's been confirmed Anthony Joshua will take on Jarrell Big Baby Miller June the 1st at Madison Square Garden in New York. Wow. Now, this really is interesting. This, to me, is a very, very intriguing fight because of the unknown factors, which I'll get into in a sec. But this fight, if you'd come to me last year and said that Anthony Joshua will fight Jarrell Miller in Madison Square Garden in June of next year, I would have laughed at you. I would never have thought Anthony Joshua would have travelled to New York if it wasn't for a Deontay Wilder maybe. That to me is insanity. I can't believe it. And credit to Anthony Joshua for taking this because let's not face facts. Jarrell Miller is he's not from Madison Square Garden. I think that's in Manhattan. He's from Brooklyn. But still, he's a New York native. So he's fighting Jarrell Miller in his backyard in New York City. So fair play to Anthony Joshua. I believe he's making an insane amount of money for this fight. So, I think there was obviously an incentive to take this fight in the States. And, depending on when Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury have their rematch, they could be, piggybacking off that, so to speak. So, to me, it's very interesting. And, very interesting that Anthony Joshua took this fight. But, not this fight necessarily, but it's very interesting he took it in the States. So, credit to them. And I wonder what Sky are going to make of this now. Because I'm hearing, I'm hearing on the news feeds that Dylan White's date in April may be scrapped as well, which is going to be against Dominic Brazil until July. So, that's very interesting now. Sky really are going to be cutting themselves short in terms of pay-per-views because I think they really had hoped on getting an April date. So not only have they lost potentially 2 pay-per-views in April, they've essentially, not lost AJ to the States per se, but this is really going to be on the DAZN platform. The DAZN are going to be the ones paying AJ. DAZN are going to be the ones spearheading this card. So it's very interesting. This fight with Jarrell Miller, how do I see it going? Now, I'm definitely going to be picking Anthony Joshua to win this fight, but I definitely don't see it as a foregone conclusion. I know a lot of people are saying that Jarrell Miller is tailor-made for Anthony Joshua. Look, Jarrell Miller is an easy target to hit. He's 300 pounds plus. He's 6'4". He's absolutely massive. He's not exactly slick, he fights with his hands high. He's not hard to hit. So I don't think AJ will have an issue finding him. But the big question is, can Jarrell Miller take AJ's power? If he can take AJ's power and, get AJ onto the back foot, land them clubbing shots, because Jarrell Miller has a fantastic work rate, that could spell some problems for Anthony Joshua. At the end of the day, we're seeing Anthony Joshua away from home, for the first time as a professional. He won't have he'll have the backing of the UK fans, definitely to an extent, but it's going to be, I'd say, primarily an American base that's going to be at this fight. And he's going to get booed in there. Definitely, he's going to get booed by the American audience, because especially the New York audience, because they're going to be, backing their hometown hero. Well, not hero, but they're going to be backing their hometown fighter in Jarrell Big Baby Miller. So it'd be very interesting. Well, you just see, can if Jarrell Miller can take Anthony Joshua's power, can Anthony Joshua fight at the pace that Jarrell Miller will set? Because I think Jarrell Miller will try and set a high pace in this fight. Will AJ be able to keep that pace? Will he travel well? Because as I said, this is going to be in the States. How will AJ travel? He travelled as an amateur, obviously, but this is a different story. He's used to having things his own way. Will he have it his own way in the States? How will he travel, of course? And as well as that, one thing I touched on in one of my previous videos about Jarrell Miller is that Jarrell Miller has been really winding up Anthony Joshua. He's been goading him a lot. I expect that to increase times 10 in the build to this fight. And if you have an Anthony Joshua who fights recklessly, who fights with his heart, not his head, a bit like he did in the first Dylan White fight, then that might be interesting. And at the end of the day, if you're going in there, recklessly throwing shots, wasting a lot of shots, someone like an Anthony Joshua who has gassed in fights before, that could drain him. And as well as that, there was a lot of pressure in the Vladimir Klitschko fight, which is one of the reasons kind of why I think he gassed a bit in that fight. But is he not going to feel pressure being away from home? Is he not going to feel pressure, to beat Jarrell Miller, given the trash talk that Jarrell Miller's had? Is he not going to feel pressure thinking about an inevitable fight with the winner of Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury? So these are questions I got to ask. There's obviously I haven't seen any of the, odds on this fight, but if Jarrell Miller is a big betting underdog, and the odds are quite wide on Jarrell Miller to pull the upset, it might be worth sticking a little bit of money on Jarrell Miller. And I am not saying that I'm picking Jarrell Miller. Definitely not. I'm taking Anthony Joshua by late stoppage. I think that Jarrell Miller may be able to take some of Anthony Joshua's early shots, but I think that the fact that Jarrell Miller is not a slick fighter, he is easy to hit. I think a prolonged beating from Anthony Joshua, which I think that may happen. I'm not saying Jarrell Miller won't be competitive. He definitely will. But I think you can only take so many shots before they really start to have an effect on you. And I think that that might be something that might happen in this fight. That's not to say, again, that it won't be competitive. I'm sure it will. I think Jarrell Miller will be able to cause Anthony Joshua some problems in there. As I've said before, I don't think Anthony Joshua is the best fighter in the world on the back foot, and I expect Miller to be able to get him onto the back foot. So, there's a lot of intrigues about this fight. But I'm really looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a good fight. As I said, at this point in time, I'm thinking Anthony Joshua to win this fight, kind of late stoppage. I would say after the 9th round, maybe the championship rounds. But, to me, it's a very intriguing fight. And it'd be interesting to see how it goes. And, I think it's the unknowns in this fight that really have me kind of, excited about it. Because, with Povetkin, you kind of knew Povetkin was over the hill, really. Or not over the hill, but you knew that he wasn't really in with a chance with Anthony Joshua. He had a good showing against AJ, no doubt. But you always knew Anthony Joshua would have had that fight covered. With Parker, I always expected him to win that fight on points pretty comfortably. It was a bit of a stinker now, to be fair, but it was a comfortable win for him. The right man won in Anthony Joshua, definitely. With this fight, it's a bit more unknown, and I think that's what I'm intrigued about. The unknown between what might happen between, AJ and Miller. So, very interesting to see. I'm looking forward to this fight. I'm also looking forward to seeing how Jarrell Miller approaches this from a tactical point of view and from, a mental point of view, with the trash talk that he normally does. Will he increase it tenfold? I know it's cheesy, and I know it's very disrespectful, and I know he shouldn't be doing it. But will he be bringing up AJ's mother again? Just to try and get into AJ's head subconsciously. It's all kind of relevant, I think, and questions that need to be asked. And I'm definitely intrigued to see how they go. So, my thoughts on this. As always, please feel free to leave your thoughts down below. If there's anything you want me to talk about in any videos that are up and coming, about boxing or anything, drop it in the comment section. I'll see if I can, address it. I always try and, interact with my subscribers. As always, like the video, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. All help support this channel, you really don't know. And yeah, I'm sorry if there's an echo. I'm recording this video in my living room and it's a bit echoey. So if there's an echo on this video, I'm sorry about that. And so leave your thoughts down below. And as always, I will talk to you after.